Namaste, everyone. I am Teresa von Braun, and this is Teresa's State of the Universe, um, which is quite a state these days. Anyway, I'm a spiritual consultant. I've been in practice for 40 years. I do readings, energetic healings, channelings, and teaching. And I have a Seosis Mystery School where you can learn to self-read and self-heal. So today we're going to talk about a little bit more about initiation. People were interested in that process and how that relates to the 3D to 5D leap that is being asked of people these days. So I'm going to start with a little run through of the initiations, but I want to focus on what it is to get to 5D, and because it's not an easy trick. You need some magic to do it, but it's not just a complete magic act. So anyway, the first initiation, when the Kundalini awakens at the base of the spine, is about opening to the divine, opening to your psychic perception, opening to other energies and other dimensions of reality. And a lot of people have very big psychic experiences during that, and others it's much more minimal. The second initiation is the opening and the descent into your depth, and that is the shamanic underground journey that every culture has teachings about. And it's where you go down into your depth, into your unconscious, and you literally, as you descend into that, you kind of get taken apart. And ideally, you go down deep enough to find your gift, and you find your gift and you bring it back up, okay? And then you move into the third initiation, the solar plexus, the transfiguration. And this is where you find your balance, you find your center, you're in the middle of your polarities and you are moving through all of them. You become everything, and that is your power. And that is the highest level of, for more of the ego level that we are working with the first three dimensions. The shift into the fourth initiation is the first big initiation for spirit. That is where we become more of a soul-infused personality. We're all somewhat soul-infused, some more so than others, but that is the focus of really dismantling the ego and beginning to come more from your soul, okay? Many talk about this as the dark night of the soul, and it is indeed the dark night of the soul. The first part of this initiation is that. It is where if it's not your truth and you don't let go of it, it gets taken, okay? I call it clearing the decks initiation. It's like you're bare bone down to who you really are. What is your truth, truly? So this is where, you might lose your job, you might lose your house, you might lose your relationship, you might, change any or all of those. You might move to a whole new area. It's about opening your heart. It's opening to the depth of your heart, but then it moves into the celebration. It can be the crucifixion celebration. It can be the death rebirth. It can be, it's the fullness of your heart, so that your heart is open completely. If the heart is only open partially, it can't experience all that there is to experience. It can't love as much as there is to love. It cannot be as present, okay? You cannot be as present in your heart as you really need to be present in your heart in terms of transforming yourself into a higher dimensional soul on this planet. And so it is very important that we go through the fourth initiation. It's the hardest one to go through, but it's the big one to go through. And it takes a lot of dedication. It takes a lot of self-love. It takes a lot of commitment to do that. It should not be glossed over in any way, shape, or form. And so a lot of you already are on that level, and it is time for you to move into the fifth dimension. A lot need to get to that level. I said this before, but I personally see the Earth trying to go from 3 to 4. And every time that happens, a war occurs or some crisis breaks out, or a pandemic, or some kind of political unrest somewhere, everywhere, happens. And so it's all constantly being pulled back down, okay? It is humanity that needs to go from the third to the fourth. The, the earth will be there. The earth will be there. The earth will be able to hold that vibration or any higher vibrations when we as humanity, a majority or a higher percentage, get to that level of vibration, okay? So to help the earth is to be aware of it, aware of the mother, to take care of it, to love it, to protect it, but also to do your work here, knowing that the earth supports the higher consciousness and the growth constantly. He's in constant support of that. Look at all the support you have in your life, from the planet, from family, from the physical plane, to do your growth and development. Okay? There's a place in the heart of initiation where you experience yourself as being alone. And I always kind of joke about that, saying, yes, we're alone, and we're all one. We're here with a billion people, but we're one, so we're alone. You are birthed alone and you die alone, and that is true. We must face that. It is one of the hardest things for humans to face, is the unknown and being alone. We're a herd animal, okay? And that is why the COVID has been so difficult for so many people. If you're not, quarantined with family or loved ones, you might be alone with this. And it is a difficult time for humans to go through that. It's like we need other bodies around us, okay? We need to have good boundaries with those bodies, but we need to have bodies around us. We need to have boundaries around us too, in all dimensions, in all ways. And so that's where a lot of people are. This COVID is giving a lot of opportunity to go inward, and a lot of people have been talking about that, and I agree that that's true, okay? It is also opening up all the, not in and of itself, but in correspondence with what's going on. The negative is opening up and coming up, and because we're not so busy, most of us, some are still working very hard and very busy because they need to, but for most of us, there's time to really begin to look at this and to understand this, and that is part of what needs to happen in the fourth dimension, in the fourth initiation. I almost call it dementiation. I think that's a good one. We'll name it a new word. We're in the fourth dimension. Okay, so that's what happens in that particular level, is that you come into love and you begin to see things through a lens of love, through a lens of compassion, through a lens of understanding, okay? And with that, the judgment begins to leave. When you come more into self-love and compassion with yourself, your critical voice begins to go away. It doesn't go away forever. It comes back, but you can send it away again, and it comes back. It's an ongoing process, like life is. Life is an ongoing process. Being is an ongoing process. Your soul is an ongoing process. There is no there. There is no it. There is no place, particularly that we're going to land and stay, okay, in a way that is a higher place that we're trying to get to. No. It's higher and higher evolution. It's higher and higher awareness. It's higher and higher consciousness. It's embracing more and more and more of this world, this life, this humanity, and other dimensionalities, other planets, other universes, other galaxies. It's the love is what holds the whole universe together. And that is what needs to be experienced in the fourth initiation. I work with a lot of people that their heart is way open, but not to themselves. So the sense of self-love and working on your own relationship to self is the basis, okay, or the basic part of the fourth initiation, okay? That is what is supposed to happen. You loving yourself in your truth. You knowing yourself more and more as a being, as a soul, not just an ego dominated physical structure, okay? So you are developing yourself from a place of love, okay? That becomes your foundation, more than survival, okay? If you love enough, you will survive. If you love enough, you'll get yourself to the right place or do the right action. So the self-love takes precedent over the first chakra survival level that most people are living on. And survival doesn't necessarily mean that you have no money or no home or nothing. I know people that are very well off, very beautifully ensconced in their wonderful homes, and they're still operating on a survival level. And that is one of the pitfalls here, that it is so easy to fall down to that level, okay? Especially if you try to go too fast, too far. So it is important that your body has time to adjust to the higher vibrations as you develop yourself on this initiation process. You need to work on yourself to release any blocks so that the Kundalini can have a very graceful, fluid movement up your spine rather than hitting into blocks and causing even physical or emotional, psychological damage, if you will. So you need to work on opening yourself. You need to work on releasing your blocks. The fourth initiation is all about letting go of attachment. And our biggest attachment is our body, okay? And then all the other attachments that we have, okay? And it is important to know that also through the fourth initiation, we let go a lot of our identity, okay, our self-identity, who we're taking ourselves to be. And we're not taking ourselves to be just this physical body that we have incarnated to be in, or that we have actually manifested to be in. So we open up the sense of identity in who we are through this fourth initiation. And we understand that we are this soul that is eternal, that has had many lifetimes, that can go anywhere. And that is an important level to understand, okay, with this initiation. Because moving into the fifth, okay, the fifth initiation, I agree that it's where it'd be great for everybody to be, okay? A lot of times people come into my office and all I can see is arrows pointing to the fifth initiation. They may be down on the second, but where they're headed is that fifth initiation. That initiation is to become a master. When the Kundalini moves into the head area, you've mastered yourself. Nothing's perfect. You don't have to be perfect, but you've mastered yourself enough. You know who you are. Your heart is open, okay? And it is important to know that, you know, in our will center, the third chakra, it's like we're doing being. In the fourth, we're being, okay? We're feeling being. We experience ourselves as being. And in the fifth initiation, it's mastery. It's like it is us becoming authentic to who we really are, us communicating our truth, us beginning to really express, if we haven't started before, the mission that you're here on, the work that you came here to do, okay? The fifth dimension and the fifth chakra hold your karma. It holds your past lives and your karma. They can show up anywhere in your field depending on what they're relating to or about, but the fifth dimension is where that is held in the Akashic records, in your throat chakra. It's the way we communicate with ourselves, who we've been in other lifetimes, okay? So I think it's important for everyone to really have an understanding of where they're at with the fifth dimension, okay? And that is something that, you know, I give people when they come to see me. I can look at the initiation you're on and what you need to do to move through it. Simply put, work the initiation you're in. Develop yourself that way as much as you can so you can move to the next one. Many of us have developed all the way through our chakra system, the way through the dimensions in the initiations in another lifetime. But in every lifetime, the Kundalini has to ascend, and that we have to do it over again. And so for some people, it's an easy move through some of these initiations. For others, it's very difficult or time consuming, or it depends on what happened in any of these initiations in another lifetime. You know, so maybe you have to do a redo, and that makes it maybe even a little more dicey or difficult for you to move through this. I see so many people moving through these huge initiations, you know, wanting to do a huge bit of business like moving into the fifth dimension, and they don't have training, they don't have teaching, they don't have support, okay? I think all of that's very important for you to have. People used to not do it alone. Yes, we have to face our aloneness, okay, in that fourth initiation. It's Christ on the cross, oh Lord, why have you forsaken me? And you can feel that way. But then you come into the rebirth, you come into a right relationship with the divine, however you describe that for yourself, and more into right relationship with self. When that aligns, we move more into the fifth dimension, okay? It's a big one. Many people here on the planet are here because they're supposed to develop that particular chakra, that particular initiation, that particular dimension in themselves. So in this right relationship with the divine, we let the divine flood us. We let the divine come in more and more and more, along with our own essential soul energy coming in more and more. That raises our vibration. That raises our physical self and emotional self, psychological self, to be strong enough to handle more of the Kundalini movement, to be strong enough to handle the divine coming in, to be strong enough to handle being in whatever initiation you're being in, okay? Always the higher dimensions are helping the lower dimensions. That's true always. So the higher initiation or the higher dimension is helping the lower dimensions. So you're in the fourth, but the fifth's already being worked on, okay? And so that happens. Or maybe you're even in the third and the fifth is starting to be worked on. That starting to open up and be worked on is different than being able to stand authentically in that energy, okay? And that's what we need. Most people have had some glimpses into the fifth dimension. It's the realm of magic. It's the realm of past life. It's the realm of cause and effect. This is where time and space continuum and time and space come together is from this particular dimension. So there's a lot of mastery that can go on here. Mastery of time, space, mastery of magic, mastery of manifestation, true healing, okay? When you move past the fifth dimension, you're free from your karma. So if you haven't transformed any of your karma, by the way, which I don't think of karma as necessarily punitive, I think of it as what we came here to learn, or what we still need to learn about. Now, doing that may feel punitive, but that's what we're doing. We're trying to learn what we haven't gotten before, okay? And so in the fifth dimension, there is a finishing up of that. There's a completion of that. There's an understanding of that we can move beyond karma. We're not bound by our ego. We're not bound by physical law. We're not bound by, the past lives that we have brought into this lifetime. So it is a true level of freedom. One can go anywhere in the universe from the fifth dimension. It's my favorite taking off place to go traveling around. And it's important that you understand that because you're so expanded in the fifth dimension, some people may still feel it as, oh, my cat has a lot to say here about this. Because we're so expanded in the fifth dimension, we can be anywhere that we wish to be. Some people still might think of that as astral traveling to different places, spaces, dimensions, but the truth is we are all of that. Our soul is everything, okay? And that we just think about another place and we're there. But that's a fine level of focusing. That's a fine level of allowing that vibration to stay strong enough for us to get what we need to get and to be back in ourselves in a way that we're bringing the information through. That is what is important, that we are able to bring back what we've learned. Many people have astral traveled. Many people have been in the fifth dimension, have gone anywhere. Many people have guides from the fifth dimension. In fact, most personal guidance is from the fifth dimension. All beings, some fourth, some sixth, but mostly through the fifth, okay? That is where great groups of beings have been holding their caucus, trying to figure out how to help humanity all the way along, of being able to be there for people in a group context from the guidance level or a singular context, in terms of a personal guide. And so there's always been this higher level, okay, of the fifth dimension, and higher even still, which is more into the divine, but the higher level of the fifth dimension helping you up this ladder, shall we say, of your initiations, okay? That is always there. It's like cause and effect, okay? What you need to do to develop yourself, that is all right there. And we're doing it through physical bodies, okay? But we're doing it through dense physical bodies that need to be able to handle the higher vibration, okay? You need to be able to handle it mentally, okay? And emotionally, psychologically, physically, all those levels need to be strong enough so that as you open, especially the sixth and seventh chakras, that will bring you up into the fifth chakra of the throat, which is communication, which is being authentic, which is being an authority, which is the teacher, it's the Hierophant, okay? Those of you that are more into the fifth initiation or moving into the fifth initiation came here to teach, to do, to heal, to communicate through whatever medium, art, language, science, whatever medium, that came here to give to the planet, that came here with information to give. So there's a need to understand self enough and what that gift is that each and everyone has, and to be able to hold that as you move into the fifth dimension. So that uniqueness of yourself is consistent with who you are. I'm not saying be stuck or stagnant with that. Always there's evolution. Always there's further consciousness and growth. And that is important to understand. So there needs to be a development, again, in terms of unblocking yourself, of beginning to finish up karma, of loving yourself, of moving into that higher place, whether it's by astral travel or by thought, okay, to allow yourself to be in that higher dimension more and more and more of the time, okay? Now, if you're only in the third initiation, that's going to be maybe not able to do that very much. If you're already in the fourth and have worked some of that energy there, it will be easier to maintain this connection and being in the fifth dimension. That's where we need to come from. It's not just where we need to get to. It's where we need to be able to come from there. That's a different level, okay? Most people can get there, okay? A lot of people can visit the Akasha. A lot of people can get fifth dimensional information, but we need to raise ourselves up enough to get there, Okay? And let's not underestimate the fourth initiation. It is not just the unconscious or the negative side of things or the dark night of the soul. There's also the celebration of life that happens in the fourth initiation. So it is important to understand where you are in your own development, whatever path you're following. Okay, these are the words I use. It's more of a Western way of talking about it. There's other ways of talking about it. Certainly, Kundalini's no stranger to Eastern traditions, but of really understanding more and more of that, so that you can come from a place of authority, of authenticity, of who you truly are. Okay, in the fifth initiation, that is what the earth needs. That is what humanity needs. More and more people in their truth. It is so sad to me, and I think I've said this before because I say it a lot. It's so sad to me that one of the hardest things to do here is to be in our truth and be who we really are. And that is what the earth wants. That is what the earth wants. That's what our soul wants. That is the divine love between our soul and the earth. If we can walk our talk, speak our truth, be in who we are, the majority of the time, that is what is needed from all of us now. So whatever level you're on, whatever awareness you have, be present to that. Be in the moment with that. That is the fastest way through. Okay? We get our stuff out of the way and we're in direct connection with whatever is happening. We will transform. We will develop. We will become more conscious. Okay? So you don't have to go anywhere necessarily looking for it. Teaching, help, a path, information is all good. But your job is to be where you are, to really be where you are and embrace that. That is the quickest route to self-loving, okay? Or in self-love, we do embrace who we are and where we are. And maybe not all the time, but the majority of the time. So this is an important movement that is being talked about a lot. I think it's important for people to understand what their particular process and their particular relationship with the fifth dimension is, so that they can, as gracefully as possible, make this huge leap that we are being called upon to do, to get into that level. It's also important to connect more with your guides that are on that level. They will help you. They can hold you. They can bring that information to you, that energy to you. You can feel more connected to the fifth dimension through them as well. But that's not the be-all and end-all. You need to be there as well. And so it is an attainment that many, many, many people can do. Okay, to understand that. But to leap from the third to the fifth is a bit much, I think, for almost anybody. So it depends on how well they did the fourth initiation, perhaps in another lifetime. So if you are interested, okay, in knowing more about your path, where your Kundalini is, the initiation you're on, the past lives or this lives, and how that factors in with all of that, you can set up a session with me. I can do a reading on that. That's a lot of what I give to people when they come for a reading about whatever they're coming for, is that particular level. It's sort of how I understand what's going on in people's life is by the vibrational level of the initiation that they're in. And as you go through the initiation, you vivify the chakra. That's an old world. You open it up. It becomes brighter, more powerful. So you can see that in someone's space. Or it also lights up the different dimensions that correspond to the initiation. So you can see that in the aura. So your physical body, your chakra system, your nervous system especially, and your own aura that is emanating from you and coming from your soul, all of that needs to be strong enough to handle the initiation level that you're in. So again, everybody's in one. You're in a body, you're on a planet, you're in one, and in initiation. And you might stay in one for the rest of your life, or you might be moving. The Kundalini doesn't like to be stagnant. If it can't come up, it can go back down, okay? It's not something that you should try to do yourself at all. The pineal gland sends a message to the first chakra when the Kundalini needs to awaken, and all we need to really do is get out of its way and handle the lessons that it is giving us and understand them. So there's a lot that I can talk with you about in terms of your personal relationship to this phenomenon that would be wonderful if we could really pull this off on the planet. But in any case, it's a phenomenon and an experience we can reach by undergoing our own initiatory process. So think about that. My name is Teresa von Braun. It's the Seosis Mystery School. Namaste.
Website.
Oh, my website. There's so many things to remember on the physical plane. My website, www.teresavonbraun.com. And you can find me on Google or other places.